Hello, Internet. How is everyone this wonderful Sunday, Palm Sunday, even? Happy Sunday. I hope everyone's having a good one. Welcome to the show. It's nice to see you. Let's make sure we're live on all the platforms. Looks like we're good on YouTube. Wally, nice to see you. You know what? I don't know what the deal is anymore, Wally. She doesn't... She just... Okay, there she goes. I have to coax her a little bit. Okay, you want to say hi? All right. Let's say hi to everybody. If you guys don't know, this is Scarlett. Oh, Scarlett the pit bull. She likes to stomp on my balls. All right. How are you, Mama? Okay. Done saying hi to everybody? Okay. Fully done. All right. We got a lot of California shenanigans to get into tonight, and you guys might have seen the title of the episode. If California falls, America falls. And the reason I said that is because I was on the RGS podcast over on Friday night, I think it was. RGS, if you're in the chat, like usual, you remember. Well, that sort of came up. And you guys have heard the phrase, if America falls, the world falls, right? I'm sure you guys have all heard that. And a lot of people would say that's true. Northside, nice to see you. And the way I look at it, California is to America what America is to the world. A lot of people would disagree with me, but we don't have a United States if California is gone. We don't have a United States if Texas is gone. We don't have a United States if New York, Washington. I mean, hell, even Utah. No shade on Utah. Maybe a little bit of shade on Utah. You guys are weird out there. But there's a lot about California to love. This used to be the place that everybody wanted to come. It's obviously got beautiful weather. People used to like Californians for the most part. You know, we're always been kind of weird, but that's sort of our allure. You like us weirdos out here. We've gotten a little too weird, and I'll be the first to admit that. But it's not the state, it's not the geographical location that makes California a horrible place. It's not the super based people out here, because there's plenty of us. There's plenty of us out here. It's just the vast majority of us have been sort of beaten into submission by the radical, progressive, insane people out here that have taken control of California government. And with voting patterns and voter fraud, it seems like this state is a much more deep blue state than it actually is. Yes, the cities are deep blue and the central coastal regions are deep blue, but even out here, you have some super based people, but people are insanely scared to say anything. They're scared to say anything about their opinions. And yeah, so you won't hear them talking too much. We've been beaten into submission a little bit, but we grow a ton of food here. Yosemite's here. Just California's a wonderful place, and it always has been. And government has destroyed it. Liberalism has destroyed it. Marxism has destroyed it. And I get that some people had to leave if they're going after your kids in school. You can't afford it anymore. Crime, I get it. You got a family. A lot of people had to leave. But I think a lot of the hate that comes our way is people that have left and they miss this place and they know what it used to be. And they think it's just gone. And that could be true. The old California may never come back, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't fight for it. So there's plenty of us that are willing to stay here and fight for it, like myself. I don't have a family. I've already been canceled, so they don't have anything that really, well, there's always something more that they could take from me, but I'm in a good position to stay and fight this madness. I've already put myself out there, so I'm going to. And there's a lot of other people that are staying here and fighting this madness too. And I want you guys that aren't Californians to fight for this state too. And how do you do that? I don't really know. If there's some lawsuits we can bring about against this state, because this isn't the will of the people that are making these decisions, these insane decisions, like Prop 47, for example, which essentially legalized theft. $950 or below. Didn't legalize it. It made it a misdemeanor. Thing is, the DA is not going to prosecute misdemeanors, which means the cops aren't even going to show up. They're not going to do anything. So crime's running rampant. We're a sanctuary state. We just won't even cooperate with ICE. We won't deport anyone, even violent criminals. So it's just open borders. We're not, sanctuary states aren't a thing. It's just a made up term for open borders, and we're not going to comply with the federal government, even though the federal government's not really deporting people anymore anyways. But when Trump was out in office, we wouldn't have complied. We wouldn't have cooperated with the federal government and deported people. So that's sort of the point of this episode is help me fight for California. We grow too much food here. We want it to be a vacation destination again. You look at San Francisco and Oakland, how people aren't going to visit San Francisco and Oakland anymore. It's a ghost town. LA, I mean, I was down there not too long ago. Orange County's still kind of bustling. Orange County's still, why is that? Because Orange County's based. Orange County is a red county. They vote red. And it's one of the more populated areas that is still like a red bastion, and it always kind of has been that way. So let's make all of California Orange County. I'm trying to change culture out here. I'm trying to wake people up. I mean, a lot of people would say that we're past that, but I'm not going to quit fighting for California. As long as I can stay here, as long as I can afford it, as long as I can keep a roof over my head and stay out of jail. Leave it at that. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep fighting for this place. So help me fight for California in any way you can. That's sort of the purpose of this whole episode. And after saying that, I'm just going to bash on California the whole episode. I'm just going to talk about how crazy it is out here. But it's the point. I wouldn't talk this much crap about California if I didn't love it here. I love this place. I just hate what it's become. So, but like I said, we still got the redwood trees. We still have the oceans. We still have the sequoias. You know, we still have Lake Tahoe. We still have Yosemite. All the beautiful places still exist. It's policy and Marxists that have ruined this place. And yeah, that's what I'll leave it at. We'll start getting into stuff. I wanted to get into some California stuff right off the bat, but something hilarious popped up on my screen right before the show started. So I got to start with this one because this is hilarious. I mean, this was just too funny. So we'll go over to Wall Street Silver here on, wait, no, that's not where I wanted to go here. All mixed up. All right. We'll go over to Clown World, actually. Clown World on the X platform. And this is just a funny video, you guys. So you got a bunch of cops around a U-Haul. It's like, what's going on here? What's in the back of the U-Haul? What's in the box? Sorry, that was my Brad Pitt 7 impersonation. But yeah, so this is just hilarious when they slide open the door. So I won't build any more suspense. Oh fuck. It's the Patriot fuck, guys. I'll watch it a couple of times. I'm gonna try to fix my audio here. So you got the Fed Boy front. Oh fuck. Hear the commentary. So what's the deal here? What do you guys make of this? So it's Patriot Front there, and we've seen this before. We've seen them show up in a U-Haul, and you know they all kind of gather into it. This guy's got knee pads on. Looks like he's ready for a riot. So I mean, they open it up. They got their hands up here. Like, what is this? What's going on here? Well, I feel like it's like the feds forgot to send out the memo to the local police to let them know that Patriot Front was going to show up illegally in a U-Haul truck. It's just hilarious. It's a hilarious scene, but I sure think they're feds. Like I sure think these are agent provocateurs. I just straight up do. I also think there's a lot of people inside Antifa that are agent provocateurs. I think they're trying to rile shit up on all sides. But I don't know. I could be completely wrong. This could just be a bunch of LARPing dorks that go out and do stuff. But yeah, so cops pulled him over. I would love to see what the result was here. Like, you know, they take him in, they arrest them. I'm sure there's a lot of cops. So I just thought this was funny. I thought this was hilarious to share with you guys. So, all right, we'll continue. I want to get into some California stuff. actually close that one. All right. Pete Grabber, nice to see you. Let's see. Tie 64. This bill that gives illegals $120,000 for a home. I think you had a little typo there. Are you talking about the $120,000 for a first-time homeowner for illegal immigrants? That's that's on the table. Gavin Newsom wants to give illegal immigrants home loans for, even though why is the state involved in home loans? You know, they shouldn't be involved in that at all. But yeah, that's a rumor. Tie 64. If you want to explain that a little more, I think you had a little typo there. The RGS, Fed boys in a box. Yeah, exactly. North side as well as okay, let's see. Go back a little bit. And Paul Pelosi Jr. What about Paul Pelosi Jr.? He is a main nexus for the homeless. He owns some of the homeless flop houses in San Francisco, but more importantly, he coordinates the various homeless enabling services. Oh, is Paul Pelosi, is his son part of all the NGOs? Like that's part of the homeless industrial complex stuff, you guys. I'm sure a bunch of you guys know, but there's a reason they don't actually fix the homeless problem. It's a money laundering operation. They got all these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations that claim to help the homeless, but what they really do is they go out and they perpetuate the problem. They go out and they hand out fentanyl needles, foil, any drug paraphernalia that you need to do drugs, but they'll also give out tents and sleeping bags and stuff so they can sleep on the sidewalk. It's horrific, these non-governmental organizations, but yeah, it's just it's part of the homeless industrial complex. It's another scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type situation. So I didn't know that. I didn't know Paul Pelosi's son or Paul Pelosi Jr. was involved with all that. So quite interesting. All right, we'll keep going here. All right, first story I'm going to get into is a little bit sad. You guys, I'm sorry, my ear is itchy tonight. I'm going to be taking my headphones off and itching my ear because it's been, I don't know. I'm sorry, it's itchy. You didn't need to know that. We'll keep going. All right, let's, this first story is kind of sad, you guys. You may have seen me post this on the X platform, but if you didn't, and I mean, you guys know that I'm an avid trail runner and sometimes hiker when my friends want to come join me. But I mean, trail running and hiking can be dangerous, you guys. And well, let's see. Yeah, this one. So this story made me pretty sad. So Carolyn Meister, she went missing a couple days ago, and she went for a hike at Tassajara Mountain over in Monterey County. It's out near Salinas, I believe. I've never personally been there, but I mean, it's probably a beautiful place. Those mountains out there are awesome. It's probably, I think that's like the backside of Big Sur. And well, she went missing, and they sent out a search party. They looked for I think they were looking for her for about 24 hours. She only went with, basic snacks, and she wasn't wearing clothing suitable for like overnight or anything like that. She was clearly just going out for a day hike. And they found her at the bottom of a ravine at the base of a waterfall, and she was dead. And she had wounds consistent with a fall from a cliff, and it's just a terrible story. It's just a really sad story. She's I said this in my post. I don't care what your politics are. I really don't. Like, once we're on the trails, that's what it's about. I'm all about, I'm a nature guy. That's how I touch grass. That's how I escape the interwebs. I take in so much horrible stuff all the time. I have to be consuming this crap all the time because this is, I treat this like my job, and it can get to you. It can definitely get to you. And I have a great balance because I'm in the forest, and, I've been trail running for a really long time. So I know how to escape. I know how to go and unplug and, get my fix. And there's a lot of people that are like that think completely different from me. They don't have the same politics as me, but that's also their escape. That's how they unplug. That's how they touch grass. And I'm sure that's what Carolyn here liked to do. And I don't care. I mean, you guys will probably be mad at me for this one. I don't care if you consider yourself a Marxist. I don't. When we're on the trails, you're my people, and I don't care what your beliefs are. As long as you are a genuinely good person, like you want the best for other people, I don't care what your beliefs are. If you're out there and you're trying to get after it, you're trying to get your nature fix and stuff, you're my people. So yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to Carolyn Meister, because it's a sad story. She just went out for a hike and didn't make it. And I also wanted to use this as an opportunity to remind you guys that if you do, especially if you're new to hiking, new to trail running, and you're going to a place that you aren't really familiar with, you got to let people know. You got to let people know where you're going. Shoot your friend a text. Shoot someone close to you a text. Strava has a great built-in feature or a tool called their Beacon. Strava it's an application. It's an online application, but it's also a social media thing. It's like social media for runners, swimmers, triathletes, cyclists, all that kind of stuff. You can build a community. Strava changed my life in terms of trail running. I met tons of really cool people through Strava, people that have become really close friends of mine, and they have a really cool feature called the Beacon. And you can track Strava with your Garmin, or you can track it just with your phone. You can download the app and you can hit start when you go to a place. It finds your location, you hit start, and if you set up your beacon, it will send. You can set up. I think it's up to 3 people. You can, you enter their phone number, everything. When you set up your beacon, it asks you for the information of the person, like your friend or whoever, and you put their phone number in. And when you hit go, it sends them a text message, and it says, "Hey, track my run." Sends them a text message. So it's a great tool especially if you're going to trails that are unfamiliar with you. Use the beacon. It sends your friend a message, and then if you're saying, especially if you're new, I'm guilty. I just disappear. I don't tell anybody where I'm going. I just go. So and that can be dangerous, but don't do what I do what I say here. So especially if you're new to hiking, new to trail running, you can, before you even hit go on your Strava app, send your buddy a text message that says, "Hey, I'm going on a trail runner. I'm going on a hike really quick. I plan on being back at about this time. I'm at this park. I plan on doing it." You don't need to go into super detail, but say, "Hey, I plan on being back at this time. I'm going to text you when I get back." And make that a habit. And when you start, it'll send that person a beacon that'll give them a map. They can track your entire run in real time. They can see where you're at. Even if you lose GPS, it'll show like your last location. And if they can see your starting point, you can actually see the trails on the map. So you can kind of figure out where somebody was trying to go. It's a fantastic tool. So yeah, I just want to take that opportunity to remind you guys, just be safe out there. Just all it takes is one slip. You can be too close to the edge of a trail. I don't want to speculate on what happened, but what could have happened is we just had a lot of rain out here recently, and trails are drying out. And as they dry out, the edges of trails can have big cracks in them, and like little overhangs can just fall right off the trail. I mean, it only takes a 10-foot fall down where you can crack your melon, and that's it. You're out. So be careful out there. Even trails you're familiar with. I used to use the beacon every run when I first started. I don't anymore. I probably should. So she was an experienced hiker from what I can tell too. So yeah, just rest in peace, Carolyn. That's it. That's all I wanted to say about that one. So Wally World, am I on any of the Strava segment leaderboards? I used to be. I haven't been running as much as I should. This running for office and all this stuff has really taken over my life. But yeah, I haven't been going on super long runs. I haven't even been doing a ton of trail running. I've been doing a lot of just running in my neighborhood. It's, yeah. So I haven't done a 10-mile plus run in a couple of months, probably 2 months. I'm very streaky with my running. I'll get into it and I'll ramp up and be doing 40-mile weeks for a couple of months, and I'll just I'll just fall off. It's yeah, I'm not running as much as I should. All right, we'll keep going here. So rest in peace, Carolyn. Just wanted to talk about that one. All right, let's see. What do I got next? All right, well, Oakland, In-N-Out Burger. Today is the last day. It's very sad. Very sad. You did this to yourselves, Oakland. You lost the A's. You lost indoor dining for Taco Bell. You lost your Denny's. You lost your chief of police. You lost a lot. Businesses are closing up left and right in Oakland. Crime is out of control. Today is In-N-Out Burger's last day, and this is the first time they've closed a restaurant. In-N-Out Burger's never opened a location and had to close it down, ever. That's how good In-N-Out Burger is. In-N-Out Burger, it doesn't matter when you go, the line is very long every time, and you get through that line pretty quick as well. Like, anybody that knows me knows I am an In-N-Out Burger fanatic. I love that place. I love In-N-Out Burger so much. If you don't like In-N-Out Burger, you're just not doing it right. You just haven't figured out how to order to your preference. But In-N-Out Burger is fantastic. It's always clean. People that work there are always chipper. Their food is always fresh. They don't freeze their beef. It's fantastic. Fantastic place. Oakland, you did this to yourselves. It makes me very sad. Very sad. Oakland, In-N-Out Burger, gone. All right, keep going. So this is also out of Oakland. I just want to do a follow-up because this is like one of the reasons why In-N-Out Burger is leaving. So this is from Henry K. Lee over at KTVU Fox 2. And he says, 2 hit 65-year-old Asian woman after victim. This is written kind of weird. Saying that a 27-year-old worker at Woody's Laundromat on Park Boulevard. Okay, so 2 people hit 65-year-old victim. 2 hit 65-year-old Asian woman after victim, 27-year-old worker at Woody's Laundromat on Park Boulevard, told them they missed the cutoff time for the last wash. So he told them, sorry, it's too late. You can't do another load of laundry. They left, but came back 40 minutes later. Person in blue cited by Oakland police like a speeding ticket, the owner says. So they punched this guy in the face, and the cops just came by and just gave him a ticket. Like, I'll play all the videos here. This is like, Oakland's just out of control. Crime's out of control. It's so bad that the cops don't do anything for so much. Like, you see all these sideshows that they have. They don't get broken up at all. It's just bad. Oakland's out of control. So, okay. So the worker tells them that they can't do another load. They get all mad. This person. Okay, so these 2 people get all mad and they start holding. Like, look at this. All the lady did is say, you can't do another load of laundry. You see, he grabbed her. This is a woman. So a man grabbed the woman by the shirt, pinned her up against the washer. They leave. They come back. That's insane. Why'd they stop saying stop Asian hate, guys? Remember all that? Stop Asian hate because of all the white supremacists? Why'd they stop talking about that? So here's the argument. Okay, maybe it is is it a woman? I can't tell if this is a chick or a dude. It looks like a dude to me. But getting super aggressive because they said it's past the cutoff time. You can't do laundry anymore. You got to come back tomorrow. Okay, in this video, they knocked him over. Knocked the person over, the lady working at the laundromat. Now they're chasing her. This is insane. Like, you guys will think that probably will think that I'm being callous or overreactive when I say this, but I believe that worker, that lady, I mean, she's highly overpowered here. There's 2 of them. They could potentially, even if they're not armed, they could potentially kill her by shoving her into a washer, all that stuff. I believe that that woman should be able to draw her concealed weapon, and if they are still attacking, fire. Yes, I believe this woman should be able to use a force multiplier, deadly force if necessary. Like, this is out of control. Police aren't protecting people anymore, and they don't allow us to protect ourselves. Yes, I feel that you should be able to use deadly force in that situation. Call me callous, whatever. But so this is the same people. They come back 40 minutes later, and they're in the parking lot. I just paused it here. So this is the same person. This is the person that was attacking him earlier. And look at him go. So just got him pinned again. Boom. Punched her right in the face. Punched her right in the face and continues harassing. Goes up to some other person. Look how crazy this person looks. Like, you're insane. You're a psychotic person. Like, just look. Why? And his psychotic girlfriend over here. So yes, I believe you should be able to draw your firearm and say, get away from me. And if they come at you, you should be able to shoot them. Yes, I 100% believe that. All right, we'll keep going here. It's just my opinion, guys. Rich OC, California is an aspiring crap of diarrhea full of pandering Dems that will continue its free fall. Yeah, probably. We got to keep fighting though, right? Like, I think a lot of it is just that people don't stand up, because it seems like there's so many radical progressives and they can cancel you and gang up on you and dogpile and all that stuff. But I think if enough people just say, fuck you, no, you're wrong. Yeah, no, you're stupid. You're a psychopath, and I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm gonna laugh at your flags. I'm gonna laugh at the wrong bathroom that you use. I'm gonna laugh at your pronouns. I'm going to make fun of you. And if you try to come at me, I'm gonna whoop your ass. I think not even a ton of people need to stand up and do that. I just think if people start getting the piss slapped out of them for acting a fool, like these people in this video here, things will start changing. That's just my opinion, though. The RGS, I don't think you're being hyperbolic at all. The older woman should be able to use force multiplier to get out of that situation. Okay, yeah. That's yeah. All right, you agree. Wally World, I don't think we have any In-N-Out burgers anywhere out east. No, you don't. It's I can't remember where their like central manufacturing plant is, because they don't freeze their beef. That's their policy. You have to be in a certain distance of wherever they distribute their products from. So that's the reason that that's the reason why they don't have In-N-Out locations everywhere, because they don't freeze their meat, and they have to be within a certain proximity of their central processing center. And I always wonder why we didn't have one in Santa Cruz. And the rumor is Santa Cruz couldn't get approval from its citizens for a drive-through, or whatever committee has to decide this crap. In-N-Out Burger wanted to put one in Santa Cruz. There's a great location for it. Santa Cruz would be there would be a line. Oh man, Santa Cruz would be a great location for In-N-Out Burger. Nope, couldn't do a drive-through. There's no such thing as In-N-Out Burger without a drive-through. So that's why we didn't get one. Fact check me on that. I just heard that. That's just a word around the campfire. So I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard. All right, enough with this one. Let's keep going here. All right, so crazy Gavin Newsom. Let me see if I can close that one. Okay, good. Crazy Gavin Newsom. So California economic slowdown has made its way to the state's budget. I'm sorry, this is from Mike Netter. California's economic slowdown has made its way to the state's budget, which is for the second time in a row facing a multi-billion-dollar deficit. The Newsom administration and the nonpartisan Legislative Analysis Office disagree about the size of the deficit. The Newsom administration reported that the deficit was $37.9 billion, not million, billion with a B, in January. So 37.9 billion. But the The LAO, the Legislative Analysis Office, said it could be as high as 73 billion. Are you 73 billion? So almost double. Yeah, about double what Newsom says it is, what his office says it is. I believe the Legislative Accounting Office over Newsom is what Mike Better says. How about you? Yeah, I tend to agree. So let's go to, I tried to pull up the, all right. So I wanted to find an article on it, see what they said. So wanted to go to the most authoritative source in California, the Los Angeles Times. I'm obviously being facetious there because the LA Times is the place that I like to go for California news because I want to see how they're spinning it, because they are essentially they're just a mouthpiece for Gavin Newsom and his office. They're such a propaganda arm. Remember, they're the ones that put out the article about Larry Elder, the black base of white supremacy. So that was the Los Angeles Times that did it. So let's see how they're reporting on this story. So let me check chat real quick. Okay. All right. So with the budget deficit of at least $38 billion hanging over their heads, Governor Gavin Newsom and the Democrat leaders of the state Senate and Assembly announced the agreement on Wednesday to take action in April to begin to dramatically reduce California's historic shortfall. And again, we have so California government, if you're not familiar, it's set up just like the United States government. We got the governor, then we've got the Senate, the state Senate, and then we have the Assembly, which are basically like the congressmen. All three branches are Democrat supermajorities. The governor is a Democrat, then the Senate and the Assembly, Democrat, across the board. So all California problems, there's no possible way to blame Republicans. They always try to, but there's no possible way to. And it's been that way for a very long time. It's been deep blue, heavy Democrat supermajority for a long time. They still try to blame capitalism. That's another way they're Marxists. They're always trying to just blame capitalism. But all right, we'll keep going. The problem, Democrats at the state capitol couldn't agree on an amount offering only a range of 12 billion to 18 billion, or explain what exactly they plan to cut. Those details, the governor's office said, will be discussed and shared next month. The head-scratching announcement of a plan to have a that's actually good. LA Times, that's actually good reporting. The head-scratching announcement of a plan to have a plan comes as pressure mounts on Democrats over the looming fiscal crisis. Newsom has urged the legislature to take early action to begin to whittle away at the deficit now, well before the June deadline to pass a budget, by clawing back unspent funding, delaying programs, and reducing planned spending. The cuts currently under discussion are largely considered to be easier choices, with the hope of freeing up Democrats to focus on tougher deliberation that will come later this spring with the full scope of the budget hole, when the full scope of the budget hole becomes clear. So remember, they just passed Prop 1 because they found enough ballots that they needed. That's an insane amount of money for them to build beds, for them to put, I mean, I can't even remember how many it was. It was not a lot of beds. The RGS, maybe you can remember. I don't know if you can remember what it was, but it was a ton of money for not a lot of beds. But as they need to, no, that's not it. As they need to reduce spending, he does the exact opposite. This Prop 1, and again, it's just another money grab. It's so he can give a no-bid contract to somebody to build all this crap, and they're going to bid super high, and he's just going to give a blank check. Okay, so the Senate unveiled its own plan last week to slice $17 billion from the deficit with early cuts, which include delaying and pulling back more than $1 billion to expand early education classrooms and support school facilities. But the Assembly, where Democrats hold 62 of the 80 seats under a new speaker, has promised to give his members more input on big decisions. Has been slower to rally behind the plan. The struggle to reach a real consensus on the early cuts speaks to the challenge ahead as Democrats embark on a process to correct what could be the largest fiscal deficit the state state government has ever experienced. Some estimates suggest the shortfall could be nearly twice as much as Newsom estimates, which will force lawmakers to make difficult choices in May and June about programs that affect millions of Californians. Democrats often pass the initial budget by June 15th mandate required by state law and revise it again before the fiscal plan takes effect in July on July 15th. Those shady bastards. In some ways, I think this forces an early reckoning of the reality of what we're going to have to actually vote on, said Rob Stutzman, a longtime GOP strategist who worked for Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're going to wholly own it. They've never had to do this before. We don't usually have major budget deficits. We usually have a massive surplus. But Gavin Newsom and his Democrat cronies' policies have made a lot of really wealthy people flee the state. Businesses have left the state. Tax revenue has gone down dramatically. Whereas Republicans share a pain during the budget crisis in Schwarzenegger's era, now Democrats control the governor's office and both houses of the legislature by wide margins. Only a handful of lawmakers have experience in office during the prior budget crisis, and Newsom has never been forced to make cuts of this magnitude. His call to shave the deficit early has met with mixed responses from the legislature, prompting Newsom to come to the Capitol this week for meetings with Democrats in the Senate and Assembly and the Assembly leader in hopes that reaching an agreement before they leave Sacramento for spring break on Thursday. Lawmakers are expected to pass one of Newsom's major budget proposals before the recess, a tax increase on the managed care organizations that allows the state to draw more federal funds for health care. They're doing all this free healthcare stuff. It's so frustrating. It's quite easy to see if I was in the Senate or in the Assembly, I'd be like, okay, all social programs for illegal immigrants are gone. You're not a citizen. So all of it, it's gone. Every single last thing, free healthcare, every single service for non-United States citizens are gone. And we're going to start deporting folks. That's what I would suggest. The deficit is serious, and it's grown by billions since January, which is why we must move with speed to shrink the shortfall immediately, McGuire said. The Senate's plan to cut $17 billion, coupled with a desire to tap $12.2 billion from the rainy day fund, could leave lawmakers with $29 billion less to offset in June. Newsom's Department of Finance said the governor's administration backs the Senate's package, but the Assembly has yet to detail how it wants to move forward. The budget chair of the lower house assembly, Jesse Gabriel, Democrat out of Encino, held news briefings on Friday that said the Assembly appreciated the proposals from the governor and the Senate, but also needs more time. We value process and we value time to consider all these trade-offs, Gabriel said. Gabriel said the Assembly planned to put forth a proposal in April. He said he could foresee the Assembly taking some early action, but he also saw advantages to waiting until June to have more certainty about the size of the shortfall. In a statement released on Wednesday, the vague announcement of a forthcoming agreement, Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas, Democrat out of Hollister, hailed it is an important first step and said the Assembly is committed to deliberative, transparent budget process that protects hardworking Californians. But the lack of details in the announcement about the cuts that Democrat leaders are considering is an example of the complete opposite, said Senator Roger W. Nilo, a Republican from Fair Oaks. That's Orange County, isn't it? And vice chair of the Senate Budget Committee, in a statement, he called it unilateral decision-making happened behind closed doors by one political party. There it is. All right. Let's check the chat really quick here. Sounds like brownouts for fire stations. We shall see. Oh, yeah, brownouts. Like we have rolling brownouts here during the summer. We haven't had those in a while. Those happened when I was a kid. I remember those a lot. Those were happening when I was a kid. All right, let's keep going here. So a few people went and decided to kind of ambush Newsom because it's the only way you can get him to talk without it being like a like a staged, canned question answer session from reporters that are just going to be Gavin sycophants and not actually ask him anything hard. You got to ambush him when he comes out of the elevator, and that's what a few people did. So let's go to this quick video. This is when Gavin went to Sacramento, which he never goes to unless he has to, and he had to meet with the assembly to talk about the budget. So this is them kind of ambushing him, and you can just see how uncomfortable he is, how slimy he is. He doesn't have any answers for anything, and he's just a scumbag. He's just an arrogant, narcissistic scumbag that has destroyed California, lies to everyone's face.
Governor, what brings you to the Capitol today?
Just had a quick check-in with the speaker on the budget and focused to try to move some early action. I'm looking forward to getting consensus with the two leaders and making an announcement.
What additional early action beyond the NCO tax are you looking for?
How are you feeling about Proposition 1, Governor?
Like, what's the weird thing he just did with clapping? Like, just turns his back, slimy smile, and he does this clapping thing. Like, what is that?
Whether you're going to get anything out of the NCO tax before the break, the Assembly budget chair told us that's all they were doing. Pushing for something to do.
Just the way he puts his hand on her shoulder and kind of, that was just creepy, but she seemed to like it.
Is there any other early budget action that you'd like them to pass before they go on spring
Looking
break,
forward
Governor?
to letting you know soon.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Like how soon? Are you heading to
He's such a scumbag. So that's him at the Capitol. I can't stand this man. This dude's been in charge my entire adult life, and I cannot stand him. I cannot stand what he's done to this state. All right, we'll keep going here. StreamYard's acting wonky. Whiskey Reaper, nice to see you. Yep, recall Gavin. They're working on it. It's time for good men to create friction and change. I agree. All right, let's keep going here. Got a ton of California stuff to cover. I want to see if I can get through all of it tonight because there's some other stuff that's not California stuff that I would like to get into. Okay, so this is they came across this. This is California ranks dead last for job growth in the United States. How about that? So Gavin talks about how everything's great, how the economy's good. It's all lies. Just like Biden talking about how great the economy is. The sycophants that come out and talk about how great the economy is when you go to the store and you can't afford groceries and gas prices are insane in California. It's all gaslighting. So I couldn't that particular article was behind a paywall, but I found it somewhere else. So let's go over to the San Diego Union Tribune. California ranks dead last for job growth in the U.S. There's a few different news outlets that have been reporting the same thing, so it appears to be accurate. The last time California ranked 51st for job growth was before 2020. The last time California ranked 51st for job growth before 2023 was the year Bill Clinton was sworn in as president. Beanie Babies were introduced. The first Jurassic Park hit the big screen. I saw that in theaters. Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" was #1 on the charts. "You'll always be my bodyguard." Remember that movie? Yes, 1993 was a long time ago. Man, bringing back some nostalgic memories, though. Man, I saw Jurassic Park in the theaters with my parents. Good times. My trusty spreadsheet looking at revised employment stats for California, 49 other states, and the District of Columbia and Bureau of Labor Statistics found the Golden State bosses adding workers at 0.87 rate in 2023. While any job growth is good, I don't know if that's true. Well, I guess, yeah, it's not negative growth. While any job growth is good, that hiring pace looked meager in an otherwise strong U.S. labor market. So this is what they're going off of. I feel like these stats are skewed too, because if you went from a full-time job to a part-time job, like you were employed full-time and then you go out of work for 6 months or whatever, and then you take a part-time job just you got to take something. Do they consider that job growth? So I'm just curious there. So Please note the fastest job growth was happening in key economic rival states. Nevada and Florida gained 3.4%, and Texas rose by 3.3%. Interesting. So our neighbor, Nevada, where a lot of people have fled to, Florida, where a lot of people have fled to, and Texas, where a lot of people have fled to. How interesting. California's economy juggled numerous challenges in 2023, including a weakening technology sector, labor unrest making it the nation's strike hub, and population overflow, which created a shortage of workers to hire. Population outflow, which created a shortage of workers to hire. There's no doubt the state's reputation as a tough place to do business. That doesn't help. Now, I also say California jobs, I mean, you guys know, I was out of work for like a year and finally got my career back. But it seems that in California, there's no middle class jobs. It's all low paying jobs or really high paying jobs, jobs that require like a master's degree or a graduate degree. So jobs are like 65,000 a year or less. And then jobs are like 125,000 a year or more. And there's nothing in that in between. That might sound like a lot of money. Like $65,000 might sound like a lot of money to you guys throughout the rest of the country. To put it in perspective, I have a really good rent price for where I'm at because my landlord hasn't raised the rent on me in 5 years. I got a really cool landlord. I pay $1,800 a month for a tiny, tiny one bedroom. This is like a 500 something square foot place. It's tiny. I pay $1,800 a month. Its electricity is like 70% higher than it is anywhere else in the country. Gas is $5-6 a gallon. Food, everything is more expensive here. Everything is astronomical here. So $65,000 a year does not cut it. If you want to live on your own here and you're making $65,000 a year, no, good luck. Good luck finding a place. You're going to have to go live in the sticks to find a place at all. And then you're going to have to commute hours each way every morning for work, every evening. It's bad. Some California industries are in reverse gear. State job stats show noteworthy job cuts in the movie business, off 25%. Major strikes all but shut production at temp agencies, off 14%. Drops common when hiring slows, lending off 9%, rising rates slashed borrowing. And the warehouse is off 5%. Online shopping has cooled. And geographically speaking, some of California's biggest job markets were weak. San Francisco jobs fell off by 1%. I'm surprised it's only 1%. While employment grew only 0.3% in Los Angeles County and rose 0.4% around San Jose. But tumbling to the bottom of the hiring rankings isn't California's style. Remember, 1993 when a California house cost $190,000. That just, man, my dad kicked himself to get a little personal here. My parents split in 94, 95, and they ended up selling the house in South San Jose, right up against the foothills by Santa Teresa High School. Just like prime time. Where our house, it was like it was the American dream style house. Like all we were missing was the picket fence, but it was a great little ranch style home, 4-bedroom home. They bought it for dirt cheap. I think they bought it for like $60,000. It was in like 85 or something like that. And they split in 94. And then in 95 is when my dad got his own place. My mom got her own place. Right after that, everything skyrocketed. Everything went through the roof. Like just Google it. Google California home prices by year. Google something like that, and you'll see that my dad kicked himself to the day he died about this, because if he could have held on for like 3 more years, he would have like quadrupled his money. That house is probably like 1.2 million now. And he bought it, I think, for less than $100,000. I mean, like, think about that. So if he could have held on for seriously like another year, another 2 years, yeah, he beat himself up for a long time about that. I think it was like 97, 98 when the dot-com boom started happening and just things went astronomical. So Remember, in 1993, when a California house was $190,000, LA Metro's subway opened and the first PDF documents were created. Looking back over 50 years, that year was the only other time that California was the worst state for job growth. The state's job count shrank by 1% in 1993, largely due to a major loss of aerospace work and the fallout from the real estate crash. Think about who's been number 51 in hiring for more often since 1974. DC 6 times, Michigan 5 times, Alaska and West Virginia 4 times, and Louisiana, New York, North Dakota, and Wyoming 3 times. 1 year earlier, it's a swift reversal for California. In 2022, coming off some of the nation's tightest pandemic business limitations, jobs grew statewide by 5.5%, the fourth best increase among the states, but replacing all the jobs lost during the coronavirus economic chill ended abruptly. California's 4.6 percentage point drop in hiring pace between these 2 years was exceeded by Nevada's 4.9 dip. Additionally, job growth was off too, but only by 1.6 percentage points. Now, over the years, California has been more likely to be a hiring leader than laggard. Last year was the state's 7th year in the bottom 10 and past half-century rankings in number 26 among the states that had bad job markets. The states earned this dubious distinction most often were West Virginia 25 times, then Connecticut 22 times, Pennsylvania and Rhode Island's 20 times, and DC and New Jersey 19 times. But 2022 was California's 13th year at the top for hiring, but that's not nearly a national high. Nevada's been at the top 38 of these 50 years. Next comes Arizona and Florida with 33 years, Idaho 30, Utah 29, and Texas at 26. Bottom line, yes, California is the nation's largest job market, has consistently outperformed most states. Over 50 years, California's 1.8% average annual growth ranks number 19 and beats the 1.5 national pace tops. Nevada at 3.8, Arizona at 3.1, Utah at 2.9, Florida at 2.6, and Idaho and Texas at 2.5. And even over the last 10 years, the state has been above average. California ranked number 14 with 1.7% job growth versus 0.9 nationally. Tops. Utah, Idaho, and Nevada at 2.9%, Florida at 2.6%, Arizona at 2.4%, and Texas at 2.2%. However, last year's sluggish hiring pace should be a wake-up call for state leaders, political, business, and labor, that California cannot take its long-running job creation success for granted. California is a pricey place to live and do business. There's plenty of lower-cost, high-quality competition that have proven to be viable options for bosses and workers. All right, so they got to figure stuff out because people are fleeing, jobs are fleeing, and it's all because of policy. It's all because of super high tax rates. It's all because of how hard it is to all the red tape to start a small business. It's California makes it impossible. It's rough out here. All right, that's the end of that article. Danger, nice to see you. Those are all signs that he's lying. He is probably a bad poker player. Let's see. Peter Batani, I'm sure. California can drop into the ocean. Bye-bye. Oh, come on, Peter. Don't be a jerk. The RGS. Peter, that shows you how little you know about California. It produces 30% of the food. Yeah. Come on, Peter. Don't hate. Don't hate, man. This is that's the whole point of this episode. If California falls, the United States falls. This is all coming to a city near you too. That's why you got to help us fight it here, because all this, this infection spreads. Look at all the worst politicians. They all come from California. We got to fight to save this state, not just let it fall into the abyss, because it will become a rotten appendage that's still attached to you, and the infection will spread. If California collapses too much and tons of people start to flee, do you really think it's going to be all of the conservatives that flee and go make your state better? It's not. If California keeps getting worse, we got a lot of people here, and they're going to come to your state. and vote the same way. You got to help us want to fix this place. I mean, you don't want Californians, especially the ones that vote in a certain way, fleeing because they ruined this place and just to go ruin your place. You don't want that to happen. Help us. Help me help you. Help me help you. All right, let's keep going here. Okay, let's just go to a quick video. Sorry there. Let's see. Let's just show some California madness. So this is what you'll see in broad daylight. Like, crime is so insane here that this is in broad daylight, and dude's wearing a mask so he won't get caught. I'm saying how bad it's going to get, not just here in California, but all the illegal immigrants that we've brought into our country, into California, into all these other states. A lot of them are getting funding. They're getting federal funding. They get an EBT card or whatever, unemployment, however they're doing it. What happens when that money runs out? What happens when it's like, sorry, we can't fund you anymore to be here illegally? Crime. People are going to start robbing, stealing, breaking and entering, forming gangs. Things are going to get bad. And this is just a little sign of things to come. This is broad daylight. This dude just takes a grinder. He's got a Milwaukee grinder that's probably worth more than the bike he's trying to steal. But this is broad daylight, right in front of stores, and it looks like a downtown type area.
Hey.
He says, hey, and he just holds the grinder up like, yeah, I'm cutting the lock off of this bike that's locked here.
That's not your bike. Hey, that's not your bike.
It's an e-bike. These things are super expensive. You can see the battery pack on it.
Leave that alone. Hey.
So it's got a bike lock connected to this parking meter here, and he's just got a grinder with an 18-volt battery on it, and he's just stealing a bike right in broad daylight. And to be clear, I think it should be perfectly legal to use force and violence to stop this guy. Words aren't stopping him. He's saying, hey, and he's just acknowledging him. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say this guy's probably not a native Californian. Not sure if he's even an American. Just speculating. But even if he is, he's not responding. So I don't know if it's because he doesn't speak English. But at this point, it should be perfectly fine to walk up and grab him by the top of the hair and ram his face into your knee because he didn't stop. It should be perfectly fine to do that. What are you doing? He's stealing your bike, lady. That's what he's doing. Okay, let's keep going. All right. Pete Grabber, Sparky will send back all the liberal transplants that came here from other states. Nick Adams, give your money and we'll send you the worst. No, don't do that. Terry Wallace, Peters is just kidding. I hope so, Peter. Yeah, Peter, we don't have our state drop into the ocean, man. It's funny that he ended with bye-bye. Shut up, Peter. It's messed up, man. All right, keep going. Keep going, talking about California shenanigans. I'm only like halfway through the California stuff that I want to talk about. So this is just another quick video to show. I said earlier, I reposted this video and I said, this is how communism manifests in modern day society here. And somebody said, oh, this is communism. I'm not saying this particular scene that we're seeing here is communism, but what communism does is it lowers the quality of living for everyone, everybody, including the people that it's claiming to help, the poor, the middle class. No, it lowers their quality of living too. It chops everybody at the knees. That's what communism does. How does it manifest in modern day society? You get cities looking like this. Can you imagine owning a deli and just trying to run a nice little deli? This is San Francisco. Look at this. This is right in front of two businesses. And like with the, like, just look at this mural on the side, the Rainbow Market in Delhi. Somebody put a lot of money into painting this wall, and I would imagine they would go out and they would take their pressure washer and clean this wall off, keep graffiti off of it. You know, like this wall would look really nice and inviting if it had the nice fresh blue paint. But like somebody went through at one time, they went through a lot of effort to make this place look inviting. This is this deli, and they painted this mural on it. They painted the wall baby blue, and you know, you got tagging all over it. It's this at once was a very inviting looking place. Now look what's in front of the wall. It's completely destroyed this business. It's got to put bars up on the windows. I mean, would you want to go into this deli? It makes the deli seem like it's going to be low quality food and have rodents and stuff, when I'm sure it's not like that. This is a corner too. It's a corner store. Corner stores are big money. So, and look on both sides of it. So Rainbow Market in Delhi. I bet they got great sandwiches there. And look, it's just surrounded. This is what the city allows. This business is paying money to the city, tax money. Rent is probably insane. Everything for them is probably insane. And the city does nothing in return and allows all of this crap to happen. And they just got to deal with it. Like, how are you supposed to run a business in San Francisco when they allow this? How much does this, I mean, it's affecting their own revenue. I wouldn't want to go get a sandwich here. I just wouldn't want to go into this store. If all of these people were gone and the sidewalk's all clean now, and you know, they touch up their wall and everything's nice and inviting looking, that's going to increase the amount of foot traffic and the amount of revenue that they bring in by whatever percent. That's more tax revenue for the city. It's a disservice to everyone. Allowing all this to happen is just a disservice to everyone. It's sickening. It's just a regular standard scene that you see in San Francisco. It's just normal. Just normal now. Chiba, stop that. All right, sorry, my dog's chewing on her leg. Sorry, I had to yell at my dog. Okay, let's keep going here. So that's just a normal scene in San Francisco. Just unfortunate. That's what I said. This is how communism manifests, and that's what I meant. Like, I'm not saying that's communism. I'm just saying that's the result of Marxist politicians enacting their tolerance and acceptance policies. Just let them do drugs and let them camp on the sidewalk and shit and piss everywhere right in front of people's businesses. No problem. It's freaking insane. Speaking of insane, all right, this is kind of all right. Trigger warning, gore alert. This is pretty gross. So I don't know if this is out near LA. It looks like it was Bakersfield, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly where this was. It's in California, but apparently someone got hit by a train and died, and their leg was severed. Well, someone decided to go pick up the leg and start eating it. Yes, you heard that right.
I'm on the intersection of 7th and G Street after a man is in custody after a witness said he was eating a detached leg. You heard that right. Kern County Sheriff's Office tells us that detached leg came from a person hit by a train in this area this morning. We aren't sure what led to that deadly train crash, but we can.
Look at him, guys. He's holding a human leg and he was just eating it. Is he Haitian?
Confirm that one person is dead. No word on.
Look at, he's holding it by the foot and he was just gnawing on the leg from a dude or person that just got hit by a damn train. What is happening in this state?
On their identity.
Okay, so that's happening. That happened. What is going on? What the hell is going on? Okay. B Sizzo, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Nick Adams, LOL. So you give money or you'll send the word. Okay, you already said that. Let's see. Okay. I think I'm all caught up on that side. Whiskey Reaper, Old West rules need to apply. I agree. I wish it was the Wild West and we could start having some vigilante justice around here. The Democrats have gone feral. Damn straight, North Side. RGS, damn, it's crazy eating a leg. It's straight up eating a leg, bro. Like, what is happening? How the hell is this going on? It's insane. All right, we'll keep going here. More California madness to get into. Am I making decent time? Okay, I'm making decent time. All right, let's look at some of the insane bills. Like, just some of the insane policies. Like, this is what has led to all this stuff. We'll just read a little list. So this is undocumented students programs. So this is University of California, Riverside. This is some of their policies that they have for undocumented students at UC Riverside. Medi-Cal and DACA. In California, under PRUCOL category, DACA recipients can receive full coverage Medi-Cal if they meet the income threshold, meaning they have to be below a certain income threshold. How are they even allowed to work? So the DACA people are the dreamer kids, the people that were brought here as kids, like their parents came here illegally, but they were kids when they got brought here. It's technically an illegal immigrant, but you're a minor. Okay, and they have California's Value Act, SB 54. It does not allow state and local resources to be used for mass deportation and separation of families. So that act, SB 54, it doesn't allow them to use any state resources to deport people. So that needs to go away. Safe Schools for Immigration, AB 699, establishes guidelines for ICE's school visits and provides protections for immigrant students and their parents. So if you're an illegal immigrant that's a student at this school, which you shouldn't even be able to be, it means that ICE has to follow certain guidelines. Immigration has to follow certain guidelines to visit campuses, and it provides protections for the immigrant students. They say immigrant students, illegal immigrant students, and their parents. It's like incentive to just sign up for some classes to say, yeah, I'm a student. You can't deport my parents now. All right. Immigration Worker Protection, AB 450, prohibits employers from releasing employee records to ICE. Prohibits employers from releasing employee records to ICE agents and prohibits their entry to their place of business. So you're just not complying with the feds at all. It also requires employers to provide proper notification to employees of upcoming ICE inspection. So, oh my God. So if immigration calls a business and is like, hey, we're going to come do an inspection, it requires the employers to tell their illegal immigrant employees to be like, hey, we got an inspection coming up. Don't come in that day. Okay. Dignity, not detention. SB 29 prohibits new privately funded immigration detention centers to be built in the state of California. It also outlaws cities from rewriting or modifying existing contracts with private immigration detention centers. Prohibits new privately funded immigration detention centers. They're just doing everything they can. Like, it's not just California. The idea of California being a sanctuary, it started off with sanctuary cities, like San Francisco is a sanctuary city, and then it spread to the whole state. Just the whole state became a sanctuary state. And what people thought that meant was just like, yeah, we're not going to deport you. But now it's like you have all these incentivization programs, welfare state, not for Californians, welfare state for illegal immigrants, and rules specifically written to not cooperate with any sort of federal authorities that are trying to deport people, even though under the Biden administration, they're not trying to do that, obviously. But when Trump was in office, they would have been actively doing that. You know, like, you've got existing ICE agents not even hiring additional people, but you get word like, hey, this company over here, like you're not even supposed to, how can you hire illegal immigrants? Like you should be, ICE can't, I'm sorry. It gets me so flustered. I can't even talk, but I just read all this stuff to you guys. Everything here listed is to make it so illegal immigrants can not only come here, they're going to be protected from any authorities from being deported. It allows them to work. It provides them with health care. It provides them, there's probably like food assistance and rental assistance type stuff as well. We're not even done yet. I got another one. Senate Bill number 1159 allows undocumented individuals to apply for professional state licenses, okay, e.g. nursing, barbering, auto repair, using the ITIN instead of social security number, a list of California state licenses. So they, not only can you, like, that's mind-boggling to me. You can get a professional, you can be here illegally, but work legally and get a professional license for being a barber, being an auto repair technician, being a nurse. You can be an illegal immigrant. Like, imagine if that comes out, like just that information right there. Like, hey, if you can get here, whatever country you're in, if you could just get here, we can get you like this thing that's in the place of the social security number. ITIN is what they call it. And you can become a nurse. You can go to school and the California will pay for it too. This is insane, you guys. Trust Act, AB 4, a state level sanctuary policy that limits local law enforcement cooperation with immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, unless the arrestee has already been convicted of a serious crime. So convicted of a serious crime. So they could be arrested. That's the thing too. So they get busted for a serious crime and then they get out on bail because we have these, you could do insane shit and they'll just release you, like violent crimes, and they'll just release you, but you're not convicted yet. You got a court date. Well, if ICE arrests that person, they still can't deport them. So, I'll read that again. A state level sanctuary policy that limits local law enforcement's cooperation with immigration and customs enforcement. So if somebody is accused of stealing a car, they get arrested, they're arrested stealing the car. Like somebody reports their car stolen, illegal immigrants caught in the car. They just stole it. They got a screwdriver in the steering column. Cops bust them. They arrest them. They take them down. They can't just call ICE and be like, hey, this dude's an illegal. Get him out of here. They can't do that. That bill prohibits them from doing that because they're not convicted yet. Like, think about how insane that is. It's serious crimes. This is how we end up with the illegal immigrant Honduran drug dealers in San Francisco. They get arrested, and a lot of times judges will just drop the charges. They'll get arrested with a bunch of fentanyl, but a stack of cash, a scale. They'll be out within 48 hours. Then they'll drop the charges even. This stuff happens. And then the San Francisco police, they can't cooperate with ICE under this AB 60. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was the Trust Act, AB 4. This one's even better. You guys are going to love this one. AB 60 driver's licenses allows undocumented individuals to obtain a California state driver's license if certain requirements are met. Okay. Now, keep in mind, the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles in California, automatically registers people to vote. California has an honor system. When you register to vote, you check a box and you say, yep, I'm a citizen. That's all you have to do. You don't have to prove it. Illegal immigrants are already voting in California elections. Guaranteed. AB 60 driver's license allows undocumented individuals to obtain a California state driver's license if certain criteria are met. A legit California state driver's license. And remember, you could be cops in San Francisco if you are legally allowed to work in the United States. All of these things make it legal to work in the United States if you're an illegal immigrant. All of these things. If you can come here, if you can get here, you could be a cartel member, acquire your driver's license, you can become a cop. Like, Tell me how I'm wrong there. All this stuff's insane, you guys. This stuff is absolutely bonkers. Senate Bill 75 allows undocumented children and teens under the age of 19 to fully access Medi-Cal benefits. So your tax dollars paying for all that. All of this stuff attracts people to come here. This is one of the best places to come if you're an illegal immigrant. Why would you not? Why would you not try to come to California if you're an illegal immigrant? You're going to get so much stuff for free. Get a driver's license. You can become a cop. You become a nurse. Are you guys with me here? This stuff is insane. Senate Bill 104, SB 104. This 2019 law allows undocumented immigrants under the age of 26 to be eligible for Medi-Cal. Okay. Medi-Cal and DACA. In California, under PRU-Call category, DACA recipients can receive, I think that's it. Oh no, but wait, there's more. Senate Bill number 1159 allows undocumented individuals to apply professional state license. Oh, wait, no, I already read that. Okay. All right. That is it. Okay. All right. That is it. Sorry. Anticlimactic. But I mean, are you guys with me on this? This is freaking banana balls. This is absolutely banana balls. This is oh, this is from Anna Banana. She replied to me here on X. She sent this to me. You know, I better follow her back. Thank you, Anna Banana. That was quite awesome. Just followed you back for being awesome there. She's responding to me, responding to Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom says, the Republicans Party think that the most important issue for our kids is drag shows, not gun violence. It's absurd. And I responded to him saying, you signed a bill that no longer requires sex offenders to be registered as sex offenders if they are within 10 years of age of the child who they victimized, if that child is older than 14. Don't believe me? Google SB 145. Here, let me pull that up for you guys really quick. Let me pull up SB 145. You guys are going to shit. This is a Scott Wiener bill. This thing is, okay, so I want to go to the actual bill text, SB 145 overview. This is gonna really flip your lid. Okay. So bill history, where's the bill text? There it is. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so requires the Office of Labor Commission, the Division of Industry Relations, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Oh, man, it's not even California. I'm dumbass. Let me switch that. All right, you guys have to see this. It's going to blow your mind. So, okay. Let's take a minute. Let me check with the chat really quick. Okay. Wally World, he couldn't just gone to the deli for a bite. Oh, it's talking about the leg guy. The law slowly encroaches on the values we hold. Yes, Gaslit on me, correct. Skook821, I hate Newsom. I agree with you. Whiskey Reaper, noticing the happenings is crime, 1984. The RGS, if you're watching on Rumble, hit that thumbs up. Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks for always reminding me, dude. Yeah, if you guys are watching, hit that like button. Give it a repost if you're watching over on X, all that good stuff. Let's see. Why am I not finding this? Where is it? All right. Well, you guys get the picture. It's just Google it on your own. It makes it essentially, oh, I stopped sharing like an idiot. It makes it essentially, you don't have to register with the sex offender registry if you are within 10 years of age of the person you violated, if that person is over 14. you don't have to register as a sex offender. It's quite bananas. All right, we'll keep going here. Okay, I already showed that one. Okay. All right. So this is going to happen though. So apparently over in LA, a federal judge has ordered that they're going to audit all these non-governmental organizations doing the whole homeless industrial complex thing. So this is from Kevin Dalton over on Twitter. He's a great follow over there. The Kevin Dalton, if you want to give him a follow. Great California resource. He says, this is a sad day for everyone profiting off of the misery and death of the hundreds of thousands of homeless human beings. This is from the Los Angeles Times. A federal judge orders a sweeping outside audit. A federal judge orders a sweeping outside audit of LA homeless programs. So he continues, Carter's order calls for a complete and thorough transparency for each and every homelessness assistance program and initiative funded or conducted by the city of Los Angeles. That would include not just a review of the city's shelters programs as agreed to in the settlement, but Mayor Karen Bass inside the SAFE program, the city's controversial anti-camping law, and the street cleanups by the Sanitation Bureau's Care Plus teams. So we're going to get some outside eyes looking at this and seeing where all this money's going, seeing what they're really doing. We need to do this throughout the entire state because it's particularly in San Francisco. I'd love for them to do it over here in Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz doesn't get enough attention. There's some crazy shenanigans going on over here in Santa Cruz as well. All right, so we'll go to Lori Mills. Lori Mills here says, Gaslit Zombie, increments of creeping communism. I agree. The RGS, if you want to learn something not so surprising, look who pushed the help make the nationwide age of consent. It is disgusting. Is that Scott Wiener? I would imagine it's Scott Wiener. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Scott Wiener. So Lori Mills says California Capitol Democrats move to abolish property rights. They want to get rid of Proposition 13. So your home will be assessed at today's value, which will give grandma, what will grandma do? So join the homeless. So there's people that have been living in their homes for 30 years, and that's what their property tax is. Their property tax is at the current value they bought it. And the only way that property value or that property tax could increase is if that changes hands, which is why it sucks. If somebody leaves you a house, if your parents are like, this is our house, I bought it for this price, I'm paying this much property tax on it. If they die and they leave it to you in your will, you have to pay the current value on the property taxes. That's the way it already is. But Proposition 13 makes it so if you bought a house 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever, the value of the home then is what your property tax is based on. If they repeal Prop 13, it'll allow them to just all of a sudden overnight reassess everybody's home values. And then they got to pay property taxes at that value. So she says, I've been a real estate agent for 25 years. Yes, Nationwide has left the state. State Farm. Oh, yeah. So she's responding to this guy says, and most of the insurance companies are dropping homeowners insurance, claiming that they can't insure homes because of fire dangers. Not just that, but crime and all sorts of other stuff. I have been in real estate for 25 years. Yes, Nationwide has left the state. State Farm is not taking new policies. And if you are a day late, they will cancel you. We have a huge problem. The state wants to use your Cal Fair plan, which is not just fair, which is not fair. It's extremely expensive. Then Jennifer Maria says, even if this passes, how can they assess Prop 13 homes to today's value when our neighbors are assessed on their purchase amount? And she says, Lori Mills responds saying, all homes are taxed per what you paid. That's what Prop 13 does. To remove Prop 13 would raise every homeowner's tax to current market value. So people who have been in their homes for 30 years would be destroyed. Many would be destroyed. So people that have paid their house off a long time ago, they don't even have a mortgage anymore. All they have is their property tax. Then all of a sudden it's like, poof, your mortgage is back. You're essentially renting your own home again. Like, you guys following? Like, this is that's freaking banana balls, what they're trying to do. It's insane if they repeal Prop 13. So let's go over to Milton Friedman and look at the passed this back in the 70s. So I'm not a homeowner, so a lot of this stuff I'm kind of learning on the fly. You know, it's I'm 40 years old, and it's like homeownership's always just been slightly out of reach for me. Like my rent's $1,800 right now. If I wanted to buy a house, my mortgage would probably be like $2,600 if I could find like the cheapest of the cheap thing up here in Santa Cruz Mountains. If I could come up with like 20 grand and I could afford $2,600 per month, I could probably buy my own home. But that's just out of reach for me. I can't afford that. That's too much. And I don't have 20 grand saved up. But like and doesn't matter as I get older, it's like the home prices keep going up, but my income doesn't keep up with it. It's always just out of reach for me. And it's like that for so many Californians. And it's all fraudulent. So let's go look at what Milton Friedman had to say about this bill way back when. There we go.
Dr. Milton Friedman for Proposition 13.
Don't let the politicians scare you. Proposition 13 will work. It will not force schools to close. It will not cause policemen or firemen to disappear. It will not require increases in other taxes. It will force economy on government. It will give them a budget instead of a blank check. That is why I am for Proposition 13.
Cut property taxes 2/3. Show the politicians who's boss. Vote yes on Proposition 13.
So this is when people used to introduce propositions that were actually to help the people. Like this is a proposition to roll back government out of your life a little bit. Reduce property taxes by 2/3, meaning I think it was 1%. I think the proposition made it so they could only tax you at 1% of the home value that you purchased it at. And what they were saying, the propaganda spin that they were trying to say way back when was, no, if we roll back property tax on people, we're not going to be able to have fire departments and all this and that. And, you know, this is back in the 70s before California was insanely priced. They used to pay people to move here. Like California used to be very rural. I mean, it was a completely different world. And now it's just everything is like, that's the root of everything. That everything's so damn expensive here. We'll keep going. So they want to roll back Prop 13, which would just immediately destroy people. So, I mean, say what you want about Milton Friedman, but that's what he thought of Prop 13 way back when. All right, we'll keep going here. Got some more California shenanigans to get into. So yeah, back on the note of insurance companies. So this is from I Meme, Therefore I Am. He says, breaking, State Farm won't renew 72,000 home and apartment policies in California because of inflation, regulatory costs, and increased risks from catastrophes. This decision was not made lightly and only after careful analysis from State Farm's general financial health, which continues to be impacted by inflation, catastrophe exposure, reinsurance costs, and the limitations of working within decades-old insurance regulations, the company said in a statement. And he says, Bidenomics at work, but he spelled it Budenomic. Budenomic at work. All right, let's watch this quick video. This is from some Fox local news station.
From the air, the fourplex in Hayward that Alexander Lee's family owns has been insured by State Farm for almost 4 decades. No claims. This week, State Farm called him with a shocker. His policy will not be renewed.
I said, whoa. I said, it don't make no sense to me because been with you guys 38 years, no claims. Am I the only one, or am I the only apartment, or it's going to be one part? It's going to be California-wide. I said, really? California-wide?
Harvey,
do you realize what a catastrophe this is going to be? People aren't going to be able to get home insurance. Okay.
Rosenfield, founder of Consumer Watchdog and author of Insurance Proposition 103, says State Farm's last big rate increase came just last week.
That rate increase was approved assuming that they sell insurance policies to the people who need it in the state. And now they're canceling more people.
David Schaefer is an insurance broker who sells from a wide variety and range of companies.
This is definitely the worst it's ever been in my 40 years in this industry. I've never seen it as bad as it is today.
And get this, he says even the insurer of last resort, the California Fair Plan, now flooded with desperate new customers to pay very high prices for marginal, non-high quality policies, is a bit shaky.
So that's the state offered California insurance plan, the California Care Fair plan or whatever they call it, which isn't fair and it's super expensive. And it's, you know, it's like Medicare for health insurance, but for housing, it's crap. It's state. It's more communism. It's more socialism. It's more pinko shit that just chops everybody at the knees and makes the quality of everything suffer.
The California Fair Plan itself has announced that it is not prepared for a catastrophe in the state of California.
Insurers.
So if there was a huge fire that came rolling through, you know, a lot of the rural areas like Grass Valley, or, you know, there was the horrible, horrible fire out in Paradise. I mean, up here in the Santa Cruz Mountains in 2020, the worst year of my life. We had the CZU. I was evacuated for 5 weeks. The fire line is 0.28 miles right above my house. I run to it all the time. I thought the house that I live in was going to go for sure. And I basically moved out. I took out everything but my furniture. I had 3 cars. I had 3 cars at the time, and I got all of them out of here. I packed all of my shit into these 3 cars, and I drove them all to Santa Cruz. Like, I drove a car to Santa Cruz, and I ran back in. If I live in Ben Lomond, so if you guys know the area, it's a 6-mile run. Ran through the train tracks during the fires when there was smoke everywhere. It was kind of insane. My girlfriend at the time thought I was a nutbag, which I kind of am. But point is, tons of people lost their homes up here. The Cal Fair insurance plan wouldn't be able to cover all of it. There's just, the money's not there. It's for like individual catastrophes that would happen on like a home by home basis, or like a really small thing, not like a fire that would wipe out entire neighborhoods. They don't have that in the budget.
Insist they should be able to predict future losses and set rates using sophisticated computer programs, models that predict future losses instead of being based on outdated and obsolete past claims records.
Companies would like the ability to make their case to the state. Right now, it's illegal under California law for a company to come in with a model that shows if they do write in higher risk areas, how that would increase their future expected claims costs.
But at what?
Oh, it's a law. It's a law that's making all of these companies not be able to renew their policies because they're like, look, we can't assess our risk. We can't properly assess our risk because you're not allowing us to use our tools to be able to assess the risk in different areas and adjust pricing based on the risk of those specific areas. You know, it's not as risky to insure a home in the middle of San Jose than it is to insure a home here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. There's fire risk, there's trees that can fall on your house. It's much riskier up here. So your insurance prices are going to be higher. It's simple, but they're not allowing them to use new tools to reassess those risks.
Cost to consumers.
I have seen premiums that were clients of ours have been non-renewed where the cost of a new policy is 5 times of what it was before.
Zero claim is, totally ridiculous to me to get canceled.
This is as serious as it gets for the California and national economy. And we're on it. Tom Bakar, KTVU, Fox 2.
So yeah, like the Oakland Hills. I think they're showing a lot of the Oakland Hills there. So you got Oakland Hills is an extreme fire risk. You're in the hills. There's tons of grass. And the Oakland fires back in the 90s, those wiped out a bunch of houses. And yeah, you guys get my point. So if you can't insure your house, like what are you going to do? It's like all coming to a head. These are all Gavin Newsom's policies or policies that were enacted before he was there that he hasn't done anything about. It's seriously like Gavin Newsom hasn't done anything. Like, no policies that he's implemented have been to actually help this state or help the people within it. All of them have been a money grab in one way or the other. It's always give me more money to build something so I can give no bid contracts to these people that contributed to my campaign, and then they can recoup their losses by bidding twice as high as what it normally was. And then, oh, hey, by the way, when you get that no bid contract, you do all the work and then the state pays you. Make sure you donate to this this little nonprofit that I got set up over here, that my wife has set up over here. It's the shadiest shit. This is all, it's all fraud and money laundering. Like, I'm just looking at stuff. I'm just some schlub. I'm just some dude. I'm not a scholar. I'm just looking at stuff. I'm just a Californian that wants to save his state. And I don't know how. I'm trying everything that I can think of. I ran for office very unsuccessfully. I talk into a microphone. I try to tell you guys about the stuff that's going on that you may not know about. If you guys are out of state and you can see a way to help, like bring lawsuits to the California government because you're an injured party in the rest of the country somehow, you know, like, I don't know. Is there any way to do that? Because all these people are going to flee California and come flood in your state. Like, what can we do? How? We can't vote our way out of this. They've rigged the freaking elections in every possible way they could. No voter ID, a month to vote, universal mail-in ballots. They got all the way until April 14th to count the ballots. They're allowed to. Again, the DMV freaking registers everybody to vote. People can get, illegal immigrants can get IDs. So all you have to do is check a box saying I'm a United States citizen. It's rigged in every possible way you can imagine in California. So I don't know how to fix this, you guys. All I know how to do is talk about the stuff that I'm seeing and complain about it on the internet. That's all I know how to do. So, I mean, if you guys got any ideas, let me know. Like, we have to save California. You guys come here and go on a hike with me. Come here and go on a trail run with me, and let me show you why I love this place so much. Let me take you to Big Basin. Let's go to Big Sur. Like, let me show you why I love this place. Let me take you to Butano State Park, where I grew up camping with my dad. Let me take you to Castle Rock. Take you to the shooting range. This is a beautiful place. It's a magnificent place. It's just California government makes it impossible. And they are, you know, they want to disarm us, allow all the crime that is happening. And it's all policy. All of it is policy. And the only people that I see that continue to vote for it are either, you know, super wealthy liberals that haven't yet felt the impact of all this stuff because they live up on the hill. They are insulated from it in one way or another. The increase in cost doesn't really affect them because they can afford it. Or it's people that just live in a super liberal bubble that are insanely uninformed and they're just like, why is everything burning around me? I can't figure it out. So, like, that's all I see. Again, they've rigged it in every possible way. So I personally think that they could overcome like a 20% vote swing with all of these policies. It's so frustrating, you guys. They are destroying my home and I don't know what to do about it. All right. Communists have destroyed California and the country isn't far behind. Yes, this is my point. This is the whole point of this episode, that if California falls, the country falls. I truly believe that. If California falls, the country falls. If the United States falls, the world falls. It starts here, you guys. Like, California used to be the innovator. We used to, like, you know, roll it back to the 90s. Like, look at how prosperous we were out here. Look at everything that came out of California, the good things that came out of California. And it's just done a complete reversal since then. John Machado, I left LA 10 years ago and moved to Texas. I hope you like it there. I mean, you know, I get it. I get it. Like, I sympathize with the people that had to leave. There's people that did have to leave. I'm not in a position where I have to leave, and I feel like I'm obligated to stay here and try and fight for it. Pete Grabber, let's see. Many of the fuels reduction projects get tied up with the CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Prairie Kid, headed to bed. Be well. Thanks for stopping by, Prairie Kid. DRGS, if you're watching on, okay, you already said that. Okay, I already read that. DRGS, if you want to learn something not so surprising, look into who pushed the help make the nation. Oh, yeah, I already said that again. North Side, Coach, I can suggest some guys you can interview about the CZU fire. I know tons of people. I live right next to it. I was in the CZU fire. The worst story, like other California policy. So there's this guy that I met at the laundromat who lost his house in the fire. He's at the laundromat and he was like, I finally got they finally like cleared me to go back on the land. Like I can go back on the land and try to get permits to start build. He was like, but the county, and he had bought a trailer. He'd bought a trailer that he could live out of. And he was like, but the county won't let me park the trailer on my own land and live out of it. So now I'm stuck in a freaking hotel with my 15-year-old daughter, and my wife died like 4 years ago. He's like, so it's just me and my daughter, and he starts tearing up. And like, I get soft thinking about it, because this is a guy who's talking about he lost his wife, he lost his house in a fire. He finally can start going back on the land and start trying to rebuild his life. And this is in the middle of COVID. This is 2020. So it's just his whole world's falling apart. And his daughter's out of school because they won't let her go to school. She's 15. And he's like, I just want, and like, this is where he got choked up. He raised his voice and he said, I just want to give my daughter her own room. And like a tear, like his eyes were welling up. I didn't know what to say. I just like how the things that California do to people, they break people, and it's all policy, and they don't give a shit. It's awful. Yeah. I know a lot of people, one of my closest friends, Gino, over in Boulder Creek, he lost his place in the fire, and he rebuilt, and luckily he found a place that he could put a trailer on and live out of it. I mean, that's what everybody was trying to do up here. The CZU fires were a major event in my life, and I stayed here and documented the fires. I watched Eagle Rock go up in flames. I was there. I ran down to Big Basin right before it all went into. I did like stupid stuff, dangerous stuff. My dad died 3 weeks before the CZU fires. It was a very rough time for me. And when those fires happened, it was almost like nostalgic. It was I didn't get to have a funeral for my dad because of COVID policies. So those fires, it felt like it was my dad's funeral. That was a rough time. I mean, it was a rough time for me. It was a rough time for everybody up here. So California, a lot of it, shouldn't have burned the way it did because we don't do any forestry management. And the thing that just was like something that pissed me off so much was after the fires were put out, a few weeks later, Gavin Newsom comes here in his jacket with the California symbol on it, and he goes to Big Basin, the place that I began trail running at. Like, it's the place that my dad used to take me hiking when I was a kid, Butano State Park. He used to go camping there when I was a kid. All that stuff went up in flames. So that's why the fires were extra strange, because the lightning struck in Butano State Park and Waddell Park. And my dad used to take me and my sister camping at Butano State Park. And that's where the lightning struck that ignited the fires. And it was just a very strange thing because I didn't get to have a funeral for him. And those fires were rough. Those fires were extremely rough. And yeah, I appreciate it that you got some people I can interview, but I don't even know if I want to. Like, that was a tough time. I don't even know if I want to talk to people about how tough it was for them as well. So, all right, we'll keep going here. A few more things I want to get into. Man, spent this whole time on California. All right, this is just another video of their what they allow in San Francisco. So this from JJ Smith. He says this man was getting high with 3 people, and once they noticed he froze up and his body was collapsing to the pavement, 2 of them walked away and 1 stayed and screamed for Narcan. We ended up giving him 2 Narcans before the paramedics got there, and the paramedics administered 1 Narcan. It's insane that people just walk around with Narcan, and you can buy it on the grocery store shelves. I went to the Rite Aid by my house the other day, and they didn't have grocery sheets, but they had Narcan on the counter behind them. I just thought that was ironic. Not grocery sheets, fabric sheets. I was doing laundry. They didn't have fabric sheets, but they had Narcan. It's like, what the hell? So this is a common occurrence every day in San Francisco. You got people overdosing, and then luckily you got people to carry around Narcan that will save his life. But this is a common occurrence. People overdose every single day in San Francisco. It's a fentanyl genocide, and they're still walking around in masks, concerned about COVID, but they don't give a shit about the people that are ODing on the sidewalks. So, regular occurrence over there in San Francisco. All right, we'll end the California stuff on a nice note. So this is off. I don't know what coast. I don't know where in California this was, but this is off the coast, and it was just this is sort of magnificent. Can you guys just imagine seeing this? Just hundreds of dolphins.
In the shadow, I can be you, to be near you for a while. In the shadow.
And being such the negative Nancy that I am, my immediate thought is, well, how's the offshore wind project that they have planned going to affect this? And I immediately have to go somewhere negative with it, because it's, dolphins use echolocation too, from what I understand. And the offshore wind project, a lot of people think that the thing that messes with the whales the most is the like the low frequency pounding of the pile driving type sound of the windmills themselves. But what they don't realize is a lot of the stuff that really messes with the whale's echolocation is the simple mapping of the seafloor that they have to use, because they use echolocation to do that. They cruise around in boats and they map the ocean floor, and that echolocation, that frequency that they send out, it drives the whales all haywire, and they don't know what direction to go. It just messes with all their shit. And I imagine it would do the same thing to the dolphins. So yeah, that's that too. So, all right, that's all the California stuff that I had. And you know what? I got a little bit more time, so maybe I can get through everything that I wanted to get through tonight. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I might be able to get through everything tonight. It'd be nice if I can. I doubt I'll be able to get through everything, but I'll try. So, go back, check with the chat really quick. Actually, what is this? Okay, Wall Street Silver. Let's check the chat. So, Pete Grabber. Okay, you already said that. John Machado, 10 times better. What's 10 times better? Have you talked to Mike Netter? I haven't talked to him. We follow each other. One of his articles he's the one that pointed out the budget deficit stuff, and that's whose post I read to begin the show. Yeah, good dude. I like that guy. I've never talked to him though, but yeah, we should probably talk. I should probably talk to that guy. The RGS, I don't know, man. Dolphins are assholes. You're an asshole. Dolphins aren't assholes. The RGS, the issue is all the good people did leave instead of fight. Bullshit. I'm still here. There's tons of good people still here. What I mean is the good patriotic Californians are leaving instead of standing and fighting and leaving the unhinged to vote. It is serious. It is a serious fight for your state, fight for your country. Bro, there's so many really good people here. There's just so many people are silent. So many people are scared. Even people that are like based and they understand cancel culture and all that crap, they don't even realize how much they self-censor, because in a work environment here in California, you can be as openly leftard as you want. You can be like, I'm an activist, and wear a BLM shirt to work and fly your trans flag and all that stuff. But try wearing like a Don't Tread on Me patch. Try wearing a MAGA hat. Try saying I voted for Trump. Anything like that, it's like immediately all the people that you work around, well, tons of the people that you work around that are leftists are going to start looking for a reason to fire you. Everybody's going to start treating you a little bit differently. They're not going to say that's what it is, but people hide their political affiliations here if they're on the right, where if you're on the left, people are super open about it, super outspoken, because they expect everybody to be like, yeah, F Trump and F MAGA and all that stuff. When in fact, I mean, I think it's like a 60-40 split here. And a lot of people that were hardcore Democrats are just seeing how all these policies have destroyed the state. There's, RFK has a ton of support out here. I don't know why, because RFK's support of Israel right now is a little bit suspect, but I'll leave that be. But people don't support Biden out here. People don't support Gavin out here. Like, it isn't the way it appears. People are still somewhat reasonable out here, believe it or not. There's a lot of really reasonable people here. They've just been beaten into submission because that tiny minority of freaking communists will cancel you. They will get you fired, all that stuff. People are scared to talk. People self-censor like crazy. And that's what I'm trying to encourage people to do, is speak up more. Screw it. F them. Like, go to war with them. Let them know, no, I do not agree with you. Fuck you, no. And let them know that you aren't going to put up with their shit anymore. You don't care what it's going to cost you. Call their bluff. They can't take all of us on. All right, let's go to Wall Street Silver here. Yeah, this is just a few things I just want to get through really quick. So this just struck me as a bit odd. So this is Fruit Loops. Kellogg's Fruit Loops. All right. Here's the ingredients for Fruit Loops. This is non-California stuff now. So over in Germany, it's cereal, flour, wheat, oats, corn, sugar, glucose syrup. It's just like half the ingredients. If you guys see this, why are there so many other things in our Fruit Loops compared to the Fruit Loops in Germany? I know there's laws in Europe that don't allow them to put a lot of this crap in the food. Like, what is all this stuff? Vitamin B6, pyridoxine hydrochloride, thiamine hydrochloride, folic acid. Like, what is all this extra stuff and why is it in there? And I swear food used to taste different when I was a kid. A lot of food. I could be tripping, but all right, that's enough of that one. I just thought that was interesting. Our food's full of garbage. What is this? Oh, okay. So this has to do with California a little bit. It's not California, but it has to do with California. So yes, I do want to make sure I cover this. So Chicago announces the existence of an additional 10K mail-in ballots that were mistakenly not mentioned.
The race for state attorney getting tighter.
Sorry. So many, if not most, of the ballots are from drop boxes, meaning postmarks are not required. This will have major implications. Just 4,000 votes total now separate. I'm sorry, just 4,000 total votes separate the two candidates in the attorney general race. O'Neill Burke, tougher on crime, initially had a significant lead, but ballots keep trickling in and Clayton Harris keeps getting closer. How interesting. Let's watch this quick video.
The race for state attorney getting tighter. Eileen O'Neill Burke now leads Clayton Harris by less than 5,000 votes.
This isn't a very immediate process, but it is a thorough process that's happening right now.
The Chicago Board of Elections, overseeing the city ballot count, today admitting to a counting and communications error, announcing it's adding some 10,000 vote-by-mail ballots to the unofficial total. They arrived before Election Day, but were not included until now.
Huh.
The director of public information.
What's that about? They arrived before Election Day, but they weren't. They were just sort of left off to the side. It's almost like they figured out how many votes they needed to make up. The mail-in ballots thing that's what's ripe for fraud. it's super easy to make fake ass ballots.
Information apologizing, saying he missed them. I traded speed for accuracy in reporting out numbers this week as quickly as I could. I truly regret this error on my part and for the confusion that it has caused the voters of Chicago. Meantime, the race remains too close to call.
That is. How about that? How freaking strange. All right. Well, let's go over to Wall Street Apes here. What does he have to say? He says, Pastor David Lowry witnessed Chicago election fraud. While out at many different polling stations, there were so many violations. I'm just going to read this. This is all just quoting from the video, but the video's audio is really bad. So I'm just going to read what he said. While out at many different polling stations, there were so many violations. We also witnessed ballots not being accessible to Republicans. We witnessed at 6 o'clock in the morning that it's Democratic judge that's acting as a Republican judge. We witnessed at 6 o'clock in the morning that it's a Democrat judge that's acting as a Republican judge. Machines were breaking down. Printers were bad. The ballots that some we got a lady that was trying to put a ballot through. They told her that the machines was broke and that they would put the ballot through later and put it in the box. So they, but after they saw us, they're asking questions. They, made the machines work. So the ground game is going to be important if there's going to be a fair election. So I understand personally now what happened in Arizona because I've seen it right here in Chicago. But if the Republicans are on war win this election, it's going to have to be the ground game. We have to have people in these places to hold them accountable, because if we don't, another election will be started in 2024. And that's when the Democrats that's what the Democrats are doing. Every American citizen, black, white, don't matter what the nationality that you are. If you are here, you are being replaced by cheap labor. That is what's happening. So they found these extra 10,000 ballots, right? And then this dude's saying, yeah, I witnessed tons of voter fraud. You guys, California is like the blue, as RGS says, is like the blueprint for all this stuff. They got all this stuff from California shenanigans. And if you try to be a poll worker in California, you know what? That's probably what I'll try to do. For the November election, I'll try to be a poll worker. That's what I'll do. I'll volunteer to be a poll worker to see if I could catch any of these shenanigans in the act. But it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes, right? Just unbelievable. All right. You know what? I don't have time to read that article. All right. I'll end with this. I'll end with this video. So this is Noah Harari from the World Economic Forum. And this dude's just creepy. He's talking about rights. And what sucks is I agree with him to a certain extent. But this dude's a transhumanist, like an admitted Marxist transhumanist. This guy hates humanity from all that I can tell. And just listen to what he has to say about your rights.
Most legal systems are based on this idea, this belief in human rights. But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story that we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story. It may be a very attractive story. We want to believe it. But it's just a story. It's not a reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights, Homo sapiens have no rights also. Take a human, cut him open, look inside, you find their blood, and you find the heart and lungs and kidneys, but you don't find there any rights. The only place you find rights is in the fictional stories that humans have invented and spread around. And the same thing is also true in the political field. States and nations are also, like human rights and like God and like heaven, they too are just stories. A mountain is a reality. You can see it, you can touch it, you can even smell it. But Israel or the United States, they are just stories, very powerful stories, stories we might want to believe very much, but still they are just stories. You can't really see the United States. You cannot touch it. You cannot smell it. Mostly.
Okay. So he doesn't want you to have any rights. He says you don't have any rights, and he wants open borders. Doesn't believe in nations. This man is my enemy. This man is my enemy, my friends. Look, everybody should read, Michael Malice has the Anarchist Handbook. No, not the Anarchist Cookbook. That's a book that teaches you how to make bombs. The Anarchist Handbook, by Michael Malice, it takes a bunch of different works from a bunch of different people, and it explains the idea of anarchy. And one of the chapters in this book is about rights. And there's a whole philosophical conversation around rights, who grants them to us, what they are, all that. I tend to agree with them a little bit on the fact that, yeah, rights aren't something tangible that we could touch, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. And this is a whole philosophical idea. And there's, the phrase might makes right, so what happens when my perceived rights infringe on your perceived rights? When I feel that I have the right to something and you say no, because that means you're taking something away from my rights. Whose right is right in that regard? So that's when the whole phrase might makes right, where you say, well, you know what? My rights are stronger. I'm going to physically impose my will on you to impose my rights. The whole philosophical idea around that. And he's sort of like muddying those waters by just saying, yeah, they don't exist at all. It's like, well, maybe we make our own rights, and maybe our rights were given to us by God. Well, what if you don't believe in God? Well, does that mean you don't have rights? So whole philosophical conversation there. So, yep, that's what I got. That's what I got for the evening, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I will be back tomorrow night. Northside, the RGS, TSY 64, Whiskey Reaper, Terry Wallace, Prairie Kid. I think you're already gone. Skook 821. All right, all you guys over on Rumble, John Machado, Hop Sose, Gaslit Zombie, Wally World, Pete Grabber, Nick Adams, B Sizzo, Danger, Rich OC. All you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out in the chat and talking to me. You guys make it much more pleasant when you're in the chat and talking to me. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you're still here, hit that like button, give it a tap, all that stuff. If you want to support the show, if you're watching over on Twitter, there's a little icon you can tap next to my name. If you want to contribute, everything helps. That goes towards my ammo and dog food fund. So, all right, folks, I think that is all I got for the evening, but you know how we do it. Before we get out of here, we got to read a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Let's see what we got tonight. What do we have tonight? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I haven't read this one all the way through, but I think it's going to be funny. So here we go. Okay. Chuck Norris cultivates a small population of third world orphans with red hair so he can harvest them at a moment's notice for his beard. And on that note, stay CaliBased.